The ground on which you stand, the floor is quicker than the sand.
Okay, stay calm. Don't struggle. Stay calm.
I'm calm.
All kinds of riddles, all kinds of special effects. That, of course, is my family favorite, Jumanji. All this morning, we have been remembering the life of actor and comedian Robin Williams, who passed away yesterday at the age of 63.
And celebrating what a life.
Yeah, celebrating,
Wow.
celebrating. It is 9 o'clock on this Tuesday morning, August 12th. I'm Darlene Hill. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
And I'm John Kelly. Corey McFerrin is off today, and what a day today is. Talking about Robin Williams. We're going to be talking about our favorites. You mentioned a family favorite, Jumanji, that you love. I haven't seen that one yet, so you've talked to me, and I need to see that one.
And I just told you, I mean, my kids are in high school, and I'm going to bring in the DVD. They still watch that film. It's such a good one.
He just has so many great hits. We're going to talk to you about all of our favorite picks. We're going to have Bill Zwecker in talking about his personal experiences with Robin Williams, and also we're going to get local reaction from right here in town, including, of course, Second City. A lot of up close and personal talks there.
Yeah.
Also going to get that in just a minute. What else we got today?
Yeah, we're going to check in right now on that weather, the forecast out there. A wet one coming in. It was so bad on our drive in this morning. I lost visibility coming in. The rain was coming down that hard.
Very, very heavy showers. They were very concentrated downtown, just a couple of locations. They moved through the south side, off into northwest Indiana. Here's where they are right now, kind of north central Indiana. That's where the rainfall that we had earlier this morning. But what we're keeping an eye on is this next batch of light to moderate showers that is stretching just north of Milwaukee and kind of making the big circular route around the lake here this morning. And likely we'll see, again, some light to moderate showers as we go through the later morning, right through midday. The trend, though, late this afternoon, we will dry these showers out, and we will also see a little break in the cloud cover. We're going to clearing skies late today into the evening hours. The thing you need to know, however, it's going to be almost a cold day by August standards. Normally we're in the low to mid 80s around Chicago. Today, only the 60s in northwest Indiana, the South Shore. We've got temperatures here in Chicago struggling to hit 70 degrees. Not going to be a very good beach day. We also have some strong rip currents that could make swimming very hazardous today, guys.
Not a good beach day, huh? All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Robin Williams, born right here in Chicago, 1951. He passed away overnight, 63 years old. So this morning, we're looking at some of our favorite Robin Williams movies, his comedic shows, all that good stuff. And Bill Zwecker joins us now.
Good to
right
see
now.
you
Your
guys
fondest memory of Robin Williams?
Wow, there's so many. There are so many. I think probably my fondest memory was chasing him through Roosevelt University, up and down a few staircases.
Literally chasing him.
Literally chasing him and interviewing him at the same time. He was talking faster than we were running, which is saying a lot. It was when he was in town to be honored by the Chicago International Film Festival. He was here, of course, being honored by them with a Career Achievement Award. That was a great memory. I remember him when he came to town for Good Will Hunting with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, who were unknowns then, of course, before the movie opened, and said these kids are going to be big stars. He just was an amazing talent.
And while we are talking about movies, I told John just a few minutes ago about Jumanji. We have some overlapping favorites. We love Mrs. Doubtfire. Let's roll that clip. What was it about Mrs. Doubtfire that we all loved?
Well, we love the fact, of course, he was this devoted father, and that was a way he played the character so he could be with his kids.
Going above and beyond.
Sally Field, of course, was played the soon-to-be ex-wife and so forth. The interesting thing there is he told me that Chicago played a role in him getting that voice that when he got he kind of combined sort of snobby North Shore types with a Scotch and an Irish nannies that he'd known over the time, and kind of combined those to find that voice for Mrs. Doubtfire, which I thought was interesting.
And as goofy as it was, he made that believable that, it appeared that you get caught up in the fact he could play and be a woman.
It really did.
It was comedy, but it was
then, of course, he
believable.
did heavy drama. Of course, he won his Oscar for Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
He did films like another film, of course, 1 Hour, which we talked earlier about, 1 Hour Photo, which was very dark and disturbing. When I talked to him about that, he also mentioned the fact that his own battles with depression and addiction gave him a mindset so he could go into this very dark, deep character.
It's amazing that in hearing from some of the stars on, you know, a number of other stations throughout the day, and even last night, on how they said just working with them, you had no cues. Like, we know where the other is going with this. You just, it was hard, but so much fun and challenging to work with a person like Robin Williams.
He took
because
improv to a new level.
Exactly. They talked about how they just gave him just do yourself.
And when you interview him, and John knows this too, because I know you interviewed him over the years a number of times, you got in the room and you just let him go.
Absolutely. He was just, you know, like a comet just blowing through the room.
Were you exhausted after interviewing
Yeah,
him?
but you know what? It was a good exhaustion. It was like a good
Exactly.
workout at the gym. And then Good Will Hunting, you mentioned this one. Not many people even knew about this film when it came out. Of course, he ends up winning the Academy Award. And this is just a brilliant piece of work that let a lot of people know he was far beyond a comedian.
Yes, exactly. This was one of the films that really sort of changed the way Hollywood perceived him, and really gave him a whole new track to go on. And yet, you know, it's so funny when you talk about talking to him, there was always something in his eyes, though, that you knew there was something going on behind. Even when he was being funny, there was always a depth to him. And I think maybe some of that could have been sort of the trauma that was going through his life,
Isn't that amazing on how, even in Good Morning Vietnam, we see Robin Williams. Of course, like you said, both of you have interviewed him, but a lot of people are talking about today on how he was so funny, made us all laugh when inside he was just crying.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you an interesting thing that I actually had the opportunity and the pleasure to interview him right after he had his open heart surgery.
Right.
He did a couple small interviews, and it was interesting to hear his take on it, his perspective. And as I sat there and listened to him, if I could have just bottled up his perspective and taking his humor to get him through that, it was just a brilliant take. And I sat there just in awe, hearing him how he was able to turn that into, you know, at that time, feel like a positive in his world, which, you know, was a life-threatening situation.
You know what's amazing is here's a guy that gave so much joy to so many people, all of us here, millions of people around the world, and isn't it a tragedy that he was not able to somehow turn that into something positive inside of
It
him?
was interesting to hear him talk about.
But it's a disease. It is a disease.
It is a
We have to
disease,
stress
and it was
that.
so interesting to talk about, or hear him talk about in interviews earlier, on how it was so easy for him after he started having children to kick that addiction. He could beat that monkey after 20 years of doing. I mean, but he could not beat this one.
Yeah, you know,
Just could
no one
not do
knows.
that.
No one knows what that darkness is like for someone.
Well, I thought it was touching and important too that you mentioned earlier about just his big heart. You know,
Yes.
we saw the tweets talking about this guy.
Yeah.
He was more than happy to change other people's lives.
And what he did for the troops.
Right. Oh, what he did for the troops, for sick children. It wasn't just like going to see Christopher Reeve, who was a friend who we continue to stay in touch with, as Christopher Reeve told me in his last interview. It was that he did this, and he did a lot of this very quietly. I know he did a lot in San Francisco, where, of course, he's lived for many years, going to hospitals, seeing sick kids. Very, very positive.
Special man.
Yeah, he really
we'll
was.
see you. We could talk about Robin Williams all morning long.
for
We
sure.
can't, though, because we're running out of time with you, but you'll be back a little bit later on in the show to talk about some other stuff that's going on in Chicago.
A little more positive. A new movie that's opening tomorrow called Let's Be Cops, and Jake Johnson, who's from Chicago, of course, is on New Girl here on Fox. Sat down and talked to him, and we'll have that coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you so
Bill,
much,
thanks,
Bill.
man.